And to pay for this, we will phase out the private school assisted places scheme, because we want to help all our children and not just a few. And in the modern economy, education is for life. So we'll give everyone, whatever your age, the opportunity to learn new skills. That's why we'll establish a new university for industry that will use cable and satellite technology so that employees can learn from the workplaces and mothers and fathers can learn from their homes. But of course, there's no point in having skills if you don't have a job. And indeed, Britain can never build a strong economy when unemployment wastes the talents of millions. It's time to tell the truth about the scale of unemployment. In Britain today, 1 family in every 5 has no one bringing home a wage. 19% of working-age households where no one is earning. Much worse than in France, much worse than in Germany, much worse than in America. And let me tell you about a 19-year-old constituent of mine who left school 3 years ago, has been trying to find work ever since. Now, he's done youth training, he's answered dozens of adverts, but he's still to find his first real job. And all of us know young people like him, full of ambition, but whose hopes are steadily being crushed. He wants to work, but the government is not working for him. And there are 600,000 young people like him in our country who want to work and who need jobs. Our costed programme will offer options for work, training and education, but no option just to sit at home doing nothing, claiming full benefit. So our second pledge is to get unemployed young people back to work. That will make us all better off by cutting the costs of welfare, and we'll pay for our plan with a windfall levy on the excessive profits of the privatised utilities. Now, if I'd been delivering yesterday's budget, I would also have set tough rules to keep inflation low and to control government spending and borrowing. After 2 recessions under this government, we need stability. But unfortunately, prices in Britain today are actually rising faster than among all our major competitors like France and Germany. So under this government, we're not best in Europe for inflation, we're 11th out of 15. We'll make sure our inflation performance matches those of our European competitors so that we can keep both inflation and interest rates low. So our third pledge is to be prudent in our management of the economy. And we'll also be prudent on government spending and borrowing, because it's by being prudent that we can make the improvements we need in our frontline public services, like the NHS. You know, there are now 20,000 more administrators, but 50,000 fewer nurses in the NHS since the government's health service reforms were introduced. I want the money wasted on bureaucrats to go instead to frontline patient care. Too many patients, including cancer patients, are waiting too long. So my fourth pledge is that by cutting red tape, we will cut NHS waiting lists, so that for you and your family, the health service is there when you need it. Now, I know that many families in Britain today are having to work harder and harder just to stand still. You've been hit by 22 tax rises, while a privileged few, like those in the boardrooms of the privatised water companies, just don't pay their fair share. Yet these are the very people who would gain most from the Conservatives' pledge to abolish capital gains tax and abolish inheritance tax. I don't think that's fair. If there's money around, it should go to those who deserve it. And my objective is to move towards a new lower starting rate of tax of 10 pence. Now that's a tax change that would reward hard work. It would help people into jobs, and it's fair because it would help every taxpayer, not just a few. But there's one tax change that I'd make immediately. That's my fifth pledge, to cut VAT on all our heating bills. Now, any decent government would understand the worries of pensioners about the gas and electricity bills and the unfairness of VAT on heating. The Chancellor didn't cut VAT on heating yesterday. Indeed, he has said he wants to double it from 8 to 17.5%. I would cut VAT on heating to 5%, the lowest level allowed. So my budget would help not just the few. Every family in Britain would be better off. We'd all be better off with smaller classes in our schools, shorter health service waiting lists, jobs for our young people, a stable economy equipped for the future, and fair tax with that cut in VAT on fuel. With New Labour, you will be better off. Your family will be better off. Britain will be better off.
That was a budget response by the Right Honourable Gordon Brown MP, Shadow Chancellor, which can be seen again on BBC2 at 10:30.
Would you feel confident with this man defending you?
Well, actually, this would be my first foray into the trial process.
With a questionable record,
It's your turn here.
I am the attorney.
forever in contempt of court,
It's either wear the leather jacket, which I know you hate, or this. I don't want to fire him. He's family.
a comedy of trial and error.
The way you handle that judge, oh, you're a smooth talker, you are.
Joe Pesci stars in My Cousin Vinny, Sunday at 8 on BBC One.
I've often walked on this street before. I just go where the big red book takes me, and it's brought me here to surprise a much-loved star.
Join This Is Your Life for a street party this Friday at the new time of 7 on BBC One.
It's all in here.
Further quarters of the snooker over on BBC Two shortly. Games feature Stephen Hendry. Here, Mr. Chumley Warner broadcasts a few handy hints in self-defence in 45 minutes. First on BBC One, evil lurks in the most sanctified of places.
God tests our faith so that we may not take it for granted. I once gave counsel to a little girl. She was very distraught because her older brother had told her that Moses hadn't really parted the Red Sea. He said that high winds and strong ocean currents had been responsible. In hearing this, the faith of this child had been severely shaken. In order to restore her credence, she had but one question for me. She asked, "Reverend, is there really such a thing as a miracle? Or are the stories in the Bible just make-believe, fairy tales?" I assured her that yes, miracles really do happen. Most people today tend to best